Defying all our expectations, the Redskins dropped their first matchup against the Eagles today, despite a promising showing from wide receiver Terrell Pryor and running back Kirk Cousins. Washington drops this one at home 17-30. Stick around. It's the Hogs Die.
By fans, for fans, the Hog Style. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Whew, boy, guys. I am feeling a little down after this one. Not altogether surprising, but still depressing. How are you guys doing, Steve?
I'm feeling oddly invigorated because, not because the game went well, the game didn't go well, but because I want to feel the pain. You know, I want to take on the misery of another poor showing in Week 1 by the Redskins. It makes you feel more alive.
Sounds very Catholic of you.
I don't enjoy molesting boys, so I'm not. Don't play that Catholic thing on.
YouTube's not gonna like that one, my friend.
No,
I didn't
might get
curse.
a flag.
I just told the truth.
Yeah.
How you doing, Alec?
Well, I'm none percent Catholic, and so I'm just depressed. Good old-fashioned depressed, American-style depressed.
That's what
Which
I'm
means
I'm
which
with
means
you,
he's drinking, people.
Oh, of course. Again, American-style depressed.
Yeah. All right, well, get your beer ready because let's attempt to take the folks through this one, and it's going to be quite a journey. Super depressing. Obviously, we called it out of the front, 17-30. Not a great showing. There were some bright spots in there, but altogether, it was a sloppy mess. I would say inconsistent. Any major headlines you guys want to call out before we jump into offense?
Let's do. Let me give game stats here real quick. Let's start out with that headline.
Right.
So, on the passing day, quarterback Kirk Cousins, 23 of 40 for 240 yards. That doesn't sound too bad, right, guys? Well, oops. He had one interception, 2 fumbles, and only 1 touchdown pass, and ended up with a quarterback rating of 72.9. And that 72.9 is frankly higher than it should be if there was fairness in the world. Rushing-wise, the Redskins as a team were 17 of 64. That's Jay Gruden living up on his promise to run the ball more. Rob Kelly, 10 carries, 30 yards. Kirk Cousins, 4 carries, 30 yards. Chris Thompson, 3 for 4. Receiving-wise, our leading receiver was Terrell Pryor with 6 receptions on 11 targets, 66 yards, no touchdowns. The hero, Ryan Grant, 4 receptions, 61 touchdowns. Chris Thompson, 4 for 52. Jordan Reed had an off day, 5 for 36, and it goes down from there. We had a Brian Quick side, and he had a reception. Offense for the Eagles is slightly better than ours. Carson Wentz, 26-39 for 307, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a rating of 96.8. LeGarrette Blount, rushing-wise, 14 for 46. And receiving-wise, once again, the Redskins get burnt by tight end. Zach Ertz, 8 receptions, 93 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 6 for 86. And it goes down from there. Alshon Jeffrey.
We could never cover the tight end.
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey is only 3 for 38. And so that is offense. I'll do defense. You want me to do defense now or later?
Let's wait on defense because that was a lot of
I
that
think
was
we're
a
gonna
lot
start
of
talking
info.
about our offense.
All right, let's start talking about our offense then.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so temperature check. Feeling good about not getting a long-term deal worked out with Kirk. Feeling bad. Not a great
It's
showing.
making those people-
continuation of the preseason performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's making those people who were happy about them not signing him look like geniuses.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, look, I don't want to defend Kirk right now, but we do know he's a quarterback who's never going to give you 16 good games. Hopefully, this is just one of those bad ones for him every year. But
yeah, I don't know about that, man. It seems like he's good for 1 interception right in the defender's chest every week. You know what I mean? He's going to at least give you one of those every week.
Well, I mean, 1 turnover maybe. Yeah, he's never been a high interception guy.
Yeah, no.
But
turnover.
Yeah, these were 3 bad turnovers by Kirk.
Exactly. It's the same end result.
Yeah. Okay. If you're really looking at the film, he probably had his arm going forward, but it doesn't matter. We lost the game. We lost the game anyway.
It didn't look much different than the Tom Brady fumble play in the AFC Championship game years ago against the Raiders. Honestly,
No, it doesn't. His
that
arm
one
is
was a
clearly
fumble.
going forward, but it doesn't matter. We would have lost.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That
Yeah.
one was not a fumble, and this
Right.
one was. But like you said, Alex, I mean, it wasn't the deciding factor in the game. Honestly,
Right.
that drive was going nowhere anyway.
Yeah.
Well, when you squander that many opportunities at the beginning of the game, this is what you get. The turnover at the end is backbreaking. But the game was really lost in those first possessions you had through the whole first half
Right.
when you just couldn't get anything going. It's just such a slow start, which we called out. The Redskins always do
Right.
for Kirk and for the team at large. It was such a slow start.
I'll tell you the 3 plays that I think the game was lost on. One was Kirk when he got sacked and fumbled in the first half or first quarter.
Yeah.
Second would be the Crowder fumble, and then third was not getting a field goal there and Kirk having the interception. It's that simple. It's those 3 turnovers that really decided the game.
I mean, from a big picture standpoint, it's just another slow start
Yeah.
for the team, for Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, in every year, whether it's good Kirk or bad Kirk, has never started off strong.
No.
And
Yeah.
today certainly wasn't any exception. I counted 7 bad throws, to what I would just call is just awful, terrible throws.
I think you're being generous there, Frank.
Yeah, well, I was about to say I kind of gave up counting there towards the end of the game. So
Yeah.
it's at least 7, which is a lot for Kirk. You know, he didn't have too many games last season, honestly, that he had that many bad throws. You know, we didn't have too many drops. I only counted 2, but again, I think I undercounted that by a couple. Here's the point I wanted to make. I feel like a broken record because I say it every week in these recaps. At the half, 12 runs, 15 passes. Not a horrible run-pass balance. Not great, not perfect, but not horrible. But by the end of the game, we were at 23-17. I mean, it's another situation where we were in the red zone. Jay Gruden doesn't run the ball at all, not one single time. We have first and 10 from our own 1-yard line. 31 out of 32 teams would probably run the ball to create a little bit of space. And
Well, see, there
Jay,
I disagree
Jay
with
passes.
you on that first on the one. Did you see what that box looked like? They had 9 guys in the box. Every single one of them was going to blitz.
And that is what Schwartz does.
Yeah.
He did that kind of the whole game, it seemed.
I mean, and
You can't throw
okay,
3.
Kirk
You're not
overthrew
going
the
to.
ball, but Pryor has to come down with that catch. That was a 15-yard reception easily on first down.
Yeah, but you're not going to convince me that you shouldn't run the ball at all when you're on your own 1-yard line.
Well,
I'm
then you would
sorry.
have gotten a safety. That's how
I don't
convince
think
you.
I would have gotten a safety.
You
I think we would
absolutely
have
will.
had.
We don't have a
No.
run blocking line. We can't run block for shit on this line. We won't be a good running team until we have
There
a good
were
tight end who can
plays-
block and at least 2 more good interior linemen.
There were plays that Rob Kelly got decent yardage on.
Yeah, but they weren't at the 1-yard line when Schwartz was going to send 8, 9
All you
guys.
need to do when you're on first and 1, you need to hit about the 4 or 5 yard line. That's it to give your at least at a minimum to give your punter some space. I just don't. I don't. We can disagree, I guess, Alex. I don't agree. I think you have to run the ball at some point when you're that close. But look,
I
that's
think you
that's
have to
not.
at some point, but that first play was
such a
clearly
minor-
getting stacked against us.
It's a minor point, though.
Yeah.
That my overall kind of point here is that once again Jay gave up on the run. We only had 17. What did I say? 17. Yeah, 17 runs
Right.
on the game. For a guy who said he wants to run the ball more, Jay does not consistently. You have to have a commitment to run the ball, and he gives up on it in an instant, and he did it again today.
It's so the same debate we have every year, right? Because we're playing from a hole right from when the game starts. We're playing from behind, and it's hard, I think, for him to resist the urge to just go pass happy in those situations. It's a situation we always find ourselves in. So we have the same conversations like every episode, every year.
Sure.
It's the story never changes. It's the same freaking team. It's the same exact characteristics. You're playing from behind. Yeah, I think it's hard to commit to the run game because it's so ineffectual and it's just so uninspiring when you see it.
But the whole point
you
though
know?
is you got to keep at it because But
Oh,
by the time
I agree.
the fourth
I'm just
quarter
saying.
rolled- yeah, I mean, but by the time the end of the third, early in the fourth quarter rolls around, usually the run game starts to open up a little bit, and Jay just gives up on it. He did it again today. I just don't understand it. He ran the ball one time in the fourth quarter in a game that was not out of hand until the last minute of the game. Somebody tell me
Yeah.
what's the problem.
I mean, I will just say this: the Eagles' one strength on defense, or their biggest strength, is their front seven when it comes to stopping the run.
But they're not that
weakest
good.
point is their secondary.
They're not that good. We're not
They
talking
were
about the
pretty good.
85 Bears here.
What was the biggest run of the day for us?
Most yardage-wise, it
Yeah,
was probably
single
the
run.
Kirk Cousins scramble.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
10
was Kirk
yards.
Cousins.
10 yards.
We only ran the ball 17 times, though,
Right.
Alex, and 4 of those were the quarterback, and a couple of those were busted plays.
Yeah, 3 of them.
We had 3 runs to running. We had 13 handoffs to a running back.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
That's
It's
not a
That's not
representative
what you
sample.
want. I'm just saying
I'm just getting
we
tired
couldn't
of
get
saying
it
it every
going,
week.
period.
Because we didn't give it a chance. You don't run the ball 13 times in a game and wonder why it didn't work. You got to run the ball.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
If we just put out last year's episode next week, would anyone notice?
No.
No
When it comes
one
to
would
running,
notice.
no.
We're saying
Yeah,
the same
it would
thing.
be the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
well, I mean,
yeah,
we have one good running back, in my opinion. That's Chris Thompson. You know?
No,
Yeah,
I
so
mean, look,
let's talk about some of these other guys on offense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Thompson probably gets play of the game for that screen
was
touchdown
beautiful.
pass.
That was one of those ones you have to watch 3 or 4 times to figure out how he got loose there at the end. It was
really
kind of lucky.
was. Yeah, you're right.
Rob Kelly is not ever going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he does have talent and he does have the ability to get yards when he has some space. How many times on these zone runs left and right did we see when he tried his cutback and the offensive line didn't seal the edge and he gets creamed right at the line of scrimmage? How many times have we seen that? I refuse to put too much of the blame for that on Rob Kelly when he's trying to cut back and there's 2 defenders right in his face. You know,
No, I don't
No,
put all
I
the
think
blame
this
on
is
Rob Kelly. I just think that Chris Thompson's a better running back.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking snaps. I don't know. I mean, I think he's good for that, keeping the defense off balance, and you don't know exactly what he's going to do. I think he's better at the catch and run, frankly.
Yeah.
You know what Chris Thompson is? He's a modern day Brian Mitchell, a lesser version maybe. I don't know if he has Brian's talent and results, but he plays the exact same role. He plays the game the same way as Brian did. And Brian, for those of you who are old enough to remember, Brian wasn't a guy who took a lot of carries from snap on first down, second down.
No,
he
no,
rolled
no.
in
he
and
was
he knew.
that feature back, the third down
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, right.
Change
And
pace.
that's exactly what Chris Thompson is. And I think if you bring Chris in, and start running him on 1st and 10, you're going to get a whole sort of another result that you don't want.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
kind
They
of
did
agree
try
with you
him
on that
on
one,
a couple
Steve.
first or second downs there, and it didn't work.
Exactly.
But
Let's talk about something
well-
positive, don't you think?
on the offense,
Well,
what
that's the
positive
thing.
was there?
The positive.
That play you just called out.
no.
Play of the
I have
game.
I have something.
Okay.
The positive was at least the team was trying to get the Kirk to Terrell Pryor connection going.
Sure.
Well,
What kind of a positive is that?
They could have not tried.
Trying
okay?
is the positive,
No,
Sean. They tried.
yeah. I mean, they
Put that
went
in the book of almost.
They went to Pryor repeatedly over and over and over again. 11
Mm-hmm.
targets on the game. And yes, Pryor, I think it's clear by now that Pryor has a problem with his hands. Okay?
Yeah.
He does.
He's still learning the position. I think he showed promise.
Right.
He came down with what, half of his targets? You said 6 of 11.
Yeah,
6
and a
of
couple
11.
of those weren't his fault. I mean, you can't blame
Yeah.
all those on. You can't blame all those on him. A couple.
Definitely.
Both drops were him. So I mean, I put 2 drops on him, and the one in the end zone on the fly pattern toward the end of the game was just good defense and
Right. Well, and there was also towards the end of the game, or do you mean the one where it was like that 50-yard strike that got called back on the penalty?
No, not that one he dropped. You're talking about the one that he dropped in the end zone. I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the one toward the end of the game. That was the 9 pattern.
Yeah. Okay.
That was just good defense. I mean, the guy was right there. What can you do? It was a jump ball. But the reason why I think it's a positive is that it shows. I think they did show some promise. They're trying to get on the same page. They did get some results. He did catch
Yeah.
some balls. Look, I'm trying. I'm doing my best here, people. Okay.
We're all doing
No,
our
you're
best.
doing an admirable job.
Yeah.
I love that they went to a deep ball to Pryor on the very first
Yes,
play. of the
yeah.
game.
exactly.
I actually really like that.
I
Yeah,
did too.
exactly.
I mean, now him getting lost in the lights or whatever it was, that didn't look pretty. But I think
He had a visor on and everything.
yeah,
too.
like we were talking about in the pregame, you have to at least give those a shot to keep the Eagles honest.
Yeah, exactly. We were all saying, I wonder how many they're going to do. They're going to try 2, 3. Did you count how many there were, Steve? It seemed like there were a lot of attempts.
What, deep balls?
Deep balls to Pryor
I didn't.
specifically.
I
yeah.
didn't keep track of deep
There were
balls
at least
this
3
time.
to Pryor.
Yeah, it was 3.
At least 3.
Yeah. I think that's trying to boost Pryor's confidence too. We're going to Pryor right at first play of the game, as you said, deep ball. That's designed to give him confidence. It's designed to help you get Kirk and Pryor on the same page.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a positive, at least in development wise, that was it. Now a negative is that I don't know if Josh Doxson missed the bus.
Yeah, what the hell?
I mean,
No, he
did
was
he
just
forget
standing
his
on the
jersey?
sidelines. I saw plenty of photos of him. He
Yeah.
came in for one running play. I remember seeing him in there blocking at one point.
I mean, there is not a God that loves this world if Josh Doxson is sitting on the bench while Ryan Grant's on the field.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
But there's got to be some. I mean, we obviously don't know the full story.
Maybe he
there.
was
I mean,
more
we
hurt
know.
than
He must be.
Lilo.
I mean, he was listed as questionable, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he must be. There's something going on there. It's so disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was wondering about that too. I think that'll be a hot topic tomorrow on the Sports Talk radio.
It's a hot
Is
topic
why
here
didn't he get
because
in there?
I mean, I just don't. There wasn't a single target to him.
Yeah.
All day. I've been trying and pleading with people out there to not call Doxson a bust just yet. Remember that, as an example, I'll throw out there the name Jadeveon Clowney with the Texans. Clowney was hurt coming into his rookie year. It took him 2 full seasons to look like a real NFL player, and now he's a pretty dangerous guy.
Yeah.
For the Texans, and so it is too early to call Doxson.
Much good it did them today, though, Steve.
Yeah, I know they
Well,
got
don't
crushed
have a
today.
quarterback right now.
No, but my point is though, it's too early to call Doxson a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Gruden has weird
Yeah.
man love for an average receiver in Grant, and Doxson's going to have to beat that. So it's just give it time. Don't give up on Doc. If you're a fan out there, don't give up on Doxson just yet.
Yeah. So let's talk
Yeah,
about Grant
he's
real
making
quick.
it harder and harder. Yeah, let's talk
All
about
right,
Grant.
here's
Oh.
the thing. He's 15 yards away from breaking what he, did yardage-wise last year.
Yeah.
After one game.
Baller.
After one game.
That's
Granted,
right.
he
He's
was
straight
in
balling now.
16 games last year.
Right.
Those are details he didn't have to go over.
well,
Alex.
so here's the question. Do you think he'll break it?
God, I hope so. Wouldn't it be ironic if he came up a yard short by the end of the season? That would be awesome. No, I think he will break it, especially because I have no confidence we're going to see Doxson anytime soon. I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
Steve, but
I just don't understand
I'm
it.
going to assume he's never playing until I see him.
I hope one of the beat writers, one of our buddies out there, asked Jay what was going on with Josh Doxson. I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen to Jay's press conference before we started recording. If either of you guys did, but
No.
I didn't either. But I really want to know. And I think Jay really has to answer for that. He has to answer for that. Why was Doxson not on the field much, and why didn't you run the ball? I mean, it's a broken record with that every
Yeah.
time. But
Well-
he's got to answer to that.
So, okay, let me ask you about going back to one play. What would
Okay.
you guys do in that situation where you're in field goal range, it's 3rd and long, Schwartz blitzed 8 guys or whatever, and Kirk just overthrew Crowder,
Right.
Did you like the play call? Would you call something different?
Are you talking about the interception near the goal line? That
interception.
one.
Because if that's anything but an interception, we probably have a field goal and we're at least up at that point.
I like the play call, and the reason I did is that one of the things I don't like about the West Coast offense very much is it relies a lot on yak. Because you see a lot of
Sure.
balls thrown to the flats, and the intent is to have these receivers get some yardage on it. And I get it, because the quarterback's getting rid of the ball quickly. But the downside of that is you're relying on receivers to get yak. Okay.
Yeah.
On a and when it's a 3rd down, I'm a firm believer that you really need to have the receiver go downfield somewhat.
Get past
okay.
that yellow
Got to
line.
run to the sticks. Yeah.
Yes, and so at least that ball was a downfield pass. 'Cause what was infuriating to me is I'll fast forward to the last series of the game for the Redskins, and granted they weren't going to win the game by that point, right? But still, you're trying to make do, and maybe a miracle happens. And what do? We throw a series of balls to the flats and hope the receivers and the running backs are going to just run the ball in the end zone, I guess.
Right.
Go downfield, take a strike 30 yards downfield, see what happens. Maybe he'll catch it. Maybe you'll get lucky. And Jay's offense relies entirely too much on Yak, and we have a guy in Pryor who's terrible in Yak.
Right.
Stats wise,
he's
Ryan
good
Grant
in
has
Yak
been
if
terrible
he
in
catches
Yak.
a slant, like we saw. Like that's when you can rely on him to get some yards.
Yeah, but overall,
Yeah.
he's one of the worst in the NFL at Yak.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so is Grant. Crowder's the only one that isn't of this
Mm-hmm.
group, and yet that's what we're going to rely on. I don't get it. So to answer your question, I like the play call. Kirk just made a horrible pass on
Yeah,
that play.
he was overthrowing guys all day. I think we
Yeah,
all
he
saw
really
that.
was. Yeah.
And
I don't
you
know
were
if-
reading his stats. His stats did not look as good as they ended up being.
Oh no, yeah, he just this is one of these. You guys know I like the numbers and everything, but this is very clearly one of these cases where the numbers don't reflect the play.
Right.
Because 23 of 40 for 240 isn't that good, but it doesn't sound horrible. Make no mistake about it. Kirk Cousins was terrible today. He
Yeah.
overthrew guys all game long. The 7 bad throws, which again was generous on my part. Those were only the really bad ones. Is bad even for him.
Yeah, and he had three
yeah,
or four little dump offs in that very final 30 seconds. That's why he got up to 23.
Exactly, and that's still only a 57.5% completion rate, which by NFL standards is not good.
No.
So I mean, Kirk is. Yes, the play calling was bad again, but Kirk Cousins was in large part responsible for the loss today, in my opinion.
I would actually say he's probably the person I put most responsible on it, because I wouldn't put it on the defense, or I wouldn't put on anything else really. So
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll round us out and say I concur as well. Maybe we should talk about defense, by the way,
yeah,
if we're ready.
yeah,
Steve, you look like you got a point to make about
yeah,
Kirk.
the thing is, we scored 17 points. This is the kind of my concluding thought on the offense. You scored 17 points, and it's 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and one of those touchdowns was a Ryan Kerrigan pick 6. And so, really and
Yeah.
truly, this
Yep.
explosive Redskins offense put up 10 points against a defense that was decidedly mediocre last year. That doesn't have anybody who's a great player. I mean, they're not horrible, but we're not talking about a great defense here. And
yeah. I mean, you got Cox, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly right. And their secondary has weaknesses, as Alex pointed out. This is a case of the offense completely laid an egg, completely and totally, again, for the 4th year in a row. It's this curse of game 1,
Well, and frankly, we know the offense struggled at the end of last season. So it's a
Yes.
continuation
Yeah,
of
we've
that.
dropped 5 of the last 7,
Yeah.
coming out of last year.
True.
So, I kind of said, this is what I said in my preview for this week. The offense not going to roll as well as it did in 2016. The defense might be a little bit better, but that's going to be the story of this. It's going to be a major decline on the offense, and we're not going to be able to pick up that slack, and I think that's what happened. So, I can't really disagree. I think it's mostly on Kirk, and God, I hope they can execute better in coming weeks, because if not, oh boy.
Yeah, well, luckily the defense at least looked like. I mean, 30 points doesn't look good, but that's not on the defense. At least half of those, I would say, go on the offense and special teams turnovers. So
The defense has to play so much on this team.
Yeah.
It's almost unfair.
Yeah.
Well,
to
yeah, I
judge
mean, certainly
them.
14 points of those, you put on the offense, right? Because
15.
one of them was the
2-point conversion.
Yeah, 15, right? Because one of them was the fumble recovery at the end of the game, and then the other one was the other fumble, one of Kirk's fumble. No, it was the fumble on the punt that gave the defense the Eagles the real super short field, and so really and truly, 14 of those points or 15 of those points,
However you want to count it,
yeah, however you want to count it. I mean, you can't blame the defense too much for those.
No.
They weren't terrible.
No, they weren't terrible, although, again, it's the same thing we have to point out. This is Philly we're talking about. This isn't necessarily one of the top-flight offenses in the NFL. They struggled by, going into the in halftime, they'd let up, what was it, 16 points?
Yeah.
That's on pace for, I know they seem to slow them down a little bit more in the second half, but that's on pace for 30 points in a game. That's not going to win you anything, and that's against Philly. So I think it's the same thing. I don't know. It's so hard to judge the defense. They got to play so much on this team, and they showed some bright spots, but we can't. I mean, they're not going to be able to catch up. Keep the slack from the offense.
I mean, what did they do poorly? Because I would say the secondary played really damn good. They let up one big passing play early on, but other than that, the secondary looked solid most of the game.
Well, let's talk about some other positives.
Yeah.
I thought the defensive line got good pressure on Carson Wentz.
They did.
You know, at
Yeah,
a lot of points during
they
the
did.
game, including a couple. You know, some pressure directly up the middle. Junior Gillette, you know, he looked decent for when he was in the game. He didn't have too many snaps, but you know,
He
he
got a
got that
sack,
sack.
didn't he?
Yeah, it got called back because of the penalty.
Oh, right.
You know, but he showed his speed and quickness there. So I thought the defensive line looked good. Brashad Breeland looked like a man on a mission, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kendall Fuller looked good. Josh Norman looked good. And so DJ Swearinger had several misplays. I thought he was a weakness.
Yeah. But he also
Yeah,
had
really
one or two
early
good
in the
plays.
game,
I mean, like,
He did,
did.
but
it doesn't
listen,
balance
I mean,
out, but yeah.
no, it doesn't.
Exactly.
Swearinger's supposed to be the big hope at safety. And,
Right.
you know, thus far, I'm not convinced based on
I'm
today's-
actually now more worried about safety than I was, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming into the season with so many of the same uncertainties from last
Yep.
year.
Well, and thanks a lot, Sua,
yeah.
for quitting like you did, because
Yeah, you're a douchebag. Maybe that's what's up with Doxson. Maybe Sua's in Doxson's ear.
You know
It's
what?
Like, hey,
I'm
man,
not
let's
convinced that
bounce.
Sua Cravens was going to be great anyway. I never
No,
thought. I
but
never
it doesn't
understood.
help.
Well, who knows? We'll never know.
We'll never.
We'll never know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. We'll never know.
I feel like that this deal with us on defense tonight is like kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts. We saw some
Right.
good play from I feel like every tier of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any glaring thing you could say like, oh, these guys just totally S the bed. I'm trying to be nice for YouTube. They totally S the bed on here. Nobody really did that. I feel like for the most part, you saw some good play. It was just every now and then they kept getting those first downs, grinding them out. They grinded us down.
sure.
Let me talk about a few defensive stats real fast. Zach Brown, 12 total tackles, 7 solo. Mason Foster, 9 total.
Zach
8
Brown
solo.
stopped a Philly. By the way, sorry to interrupt. Zach Brown stopped a Philly possession basically by himself once. He had like all 3 tackles.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, you're right.
He blew up a couple third and shorts, on his own, just getting in the backfield, getting the running back. He was impressive.
He
Definitely a bright spot.
Yeah, it was a bright spot.
Keep him a
DeShazier
5-year
Everett,
deal.
DeShazier
Yeah.
Everett, 7 tackles, 2 solo. DJ Swearinger, 5 tackles. It goes down from there. Preston Smith had a sack, and then Ryan Kerrigan
Yes.
and Alex's boyfriend Matt Ioannidis shared the other sack. So that is defensive stats. Ryan
so cute,
Kerrigan had the
Alex.
1 interception.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Somebody,
Shades of Kerrigan's rookie year.
yeah, somebody pointed
on
this
that
out. I don't remember who. It was one of the beat reporters that every single interception Kerrigan's had, he's returned for a touchdown.
And he hadn't had one in a while. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
Is how
he's
long
only
has it
had
been
3
since he's
or
had
something
one?
like that. It's
Yeah.
not many.
He didn't have one last year, so
Yeah. Well, he's an outside linebacker. You don't expect him to have that many.
Yeah, that was his first one came on his first play as a Redskins, didn't it? As a Redskin, didn't it?
Yeah, no, you're
that
right,
was
it did.
that was one of them. Very first play.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was nice to see that. Yeah, good on you. Good on you, Kerrigan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look. Philly's offense didn't put up monster numbers against us, despite the 30 points. They only rushed for 58 yards, and this is a team that was horrible against the run last year, so that's progress.
Yeah.
Although
that might be
I
the
mean,
biggest thing I saw improvement-wise. Because Blunt
although
is
frankly,
no joke.
well, he's also inconsistent though. He goes through long stretches where he's not that good. Philly's not known. This version of Philly isn't that great a rushing team. I don't think.
No.
And Wentz, okay, he put up numbers, but not great numbers. This is truly just a case of the Redskins the Redskins lost because they made mistakes over and over and over again, repeatedly.
Yep. 4 turnovers, you're going to lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless somehow
How
the other
many
team turns
times
it
do we-
over 5 times.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't depend on that. No, it's so sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sloppy from start to finish. You're not going to be able to win a game like this at some point. I mean, we put it on Kirk, but this team is so sloppy, and it's the same story. It's on J2.
It is.
It's just really.
Yep. But I don't know, man. It looked like the defense came to play. They were ready. So I can't really put it on all the coaching staff. It's really on just the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I can't disagree.
I mean, you hear me sigh. I don't know. I mean, when you see a team look like this year after year after year early in the season, I mean, the only one I can blame is the coaches. The coaches consistently don't have this team ready.
Sure.
And yeah, the defense didn't look horrible, and the defense certainly looked better against it than the offense did. But we weren't playing the Patriots, for God's sakes. We're playing the Eagles. You know,
Right.
and they should be decent against the Eagles because the Eagles aren't that good, on offense. Carson Wentz is improving, yes, but is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? No.
No.
Can LeGarrette Blount run the ball sometimes? Yes, but is he great? No, he's not great. They did good against,
receivers, and that's something. But
and they did hold Alshon Jeffrey to only 3 receptions, and it wasn't just all Josh Norman shadowing him all game either.
Right.
And so that was good. They got burnt by the tight end because Redskins.
why
Right.
wouldn't you? And I guess I kind of know the reason why they didn't do this, but Brown is a really good, quick linebacker. Why wouldn't you put him on Ertz a little bit more?
I would. I don't know why they didn't.
Well, I think they
Just
didn't because they were
caution.
just having him stop the run, but that's my guess.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, something's got to give there. You can't give up 100 yards to tight ends. And, I mean,
Right.
well, we can because we do repeatedly over
Well-
and over again.
Right.
fair enough. Fair enough. You certainly shouldn't.
Yeah, there you go.
guess
That's
I
a
should
better
say.
way to say it. You shouldn't, but we do.
Yeah, because Aguilar, however you pronounce it, Nelson, because it's
Aguilar?
a G-H, gah. So whatever his name
I
is.
think it's just Aguilar.
Aguilar.
Nelson Aguilar. Yeah.
Aguilar. All right. Well, his big touchdown was against Foster. When you look at when they showed the replay, it was pretty clear that Foster was supposed to have him the whole time.
Who had other good plays during the
He
game.
did.
Foster had some
but
good plays.
It's
no,
clear
you're
to
right.
me, Foster can't really be relied on in coverage solo like that.
Yeah.
No, we've seen Foster get burnt
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
in coverage.
Hold on, was the Aguilar touchdown really early in the game? Was that the one that Swearinger went in and biffed on the tackle?
Yeah, but Foster was the one covering him initially.
Yeah, so that's actually a good play to talk about because that was just that's another highlight of what the Redskins can't do, which is play. After the play breaks down and folks are scrambling, the Redskins do not play through the whistle. They give up, which is exactly what happened on.
Well,
on
that's
that play.
well,
also a coaching problem.
I mean, on that play, if you notice, DJ Swearinger, who was the free safety, was shaded on the other side of the field, and he reacted too late. Once he saw
right.
Aguilar get open, it took him too long to get. He recognized that Aguilar was open too late, and he doesn't have the speed. Sean.
He had him.
Well, if
he
Sean-
could have taken him down.
Yeah, I mean, could have taken him down, but the ball was still going to be caught.
Definitely,
Like a guy
definitely.
like Sean Taylor can get away with that because he was so fast. Swearinger doesn't have the ability to cover the whole field like
I mean,
that.
the number of safeties who do is in the single digits.
very small, very small. But Swearinger should have recognized that earlier than he did. Yes, he missed the tackle. That was problem number 2. But problem number 1 is he recognized it too late.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't great by him by any means, but I still put more of it on Foster, who was the guy covering him initially,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
just kind of
No, I
ran
think you're
back
right.
because he saw Wentz scrambling.
I'd just like to point this out. Now, we play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have Travis Kelce. We play the Seahawks. You know who the Seahawks have? A guy named Jimmy Graham.
Mm-hmm.
We play the Cowboys twice. They have some guy named Jason Witten.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of quality tight ends coming up this year. Some of the best in football. They're going to have to come up with some sort of plan unless they just want to let tight ends beat them consistently.
Yeah. And I don't know what that plan is because my number 1 guy would have been Cravens, honestly. I mean, I know you have your doubts about him, but, he's kind of got that strong safety. He's got the right size and measurables for at least covering a tight end, but I don't think we have a safety now who does.
I mean, my answer is Zach Brown in absence of something else.
Yeah.
I think if the team, I mean, they've got to do something. Jay seems to be a slow learner at these things, but I completely agree. You got to get somebody on the tight ends. I'll tell you what, guys. If this season continues to go like this game, and I just feel, and I know I'm making kind of a macro big point here.
It's all right.
But this is like I think this is a deciding year for Jay and Kirk both. If it continues to go like this, because you're at this point where you're seeing the same things from them after this long, they've got to do something to fix these problems. You've got to find a way to cover the tight end. You've got to find a way to keep a run-pass balance. Kirk's got to find a way not to throw, not to lock in on his first read and throw a terrible pass into coverage.
Or 5 feet
gotta-
over the head
it's
of
been-
his receivers.
Or way over the head of his receivers.
Yeah.
They've got to find a way to move on from these problems because it's been the same, just like we've said this whole episode, it's been the same problem for so many years.
Yeah.
They've got to find a way to move on from these things. I'm tired of talking about these same things. Covering the tight end, I mean, just going over this again, we were just talking about it. We've had that conversation so many times.
And it goes back years. It's not a new thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Years and years and years.
Frankly, I mean, the tight end thing, that goes back before Jay. Even Hazlitt had those same
does.
problems.
It does.
Yeah.
I remember watching who's the tight end for the Colts streak down the field against us.
Selleck? Or not Selleck, Clark.
Not
Oh,
Selleck.
Jesus, what was that guy's name? God, that was
Don't-
like
let's
when
not
like
relive-
Painter was throwing the
Yeah.
ball to
Yeah,
him,
let's
wasn't
not
it?
relive. But point is, I mean, you're absolutely right, Alex. It's gone. It goes back before Jay Gruden.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
I
Honestly,
think
a lot of these
symptom
problems go
our
back to my
3-4
whole-
system, frankly.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like a lot of these problems go back for basically my entire active history of watching this team.
Well,
which is
I'm not
really
a
sad
fan
thing to
of
say.
this cover three. I mean, it's not. Like for example, the Swearinger play. When the Aguilar got the touchdown. Well, it's a cover three thing, and I don't know why you play a ton of cover three when you have a strong safety or a free safety that isn't uber athletic. To me,
Right.
you play cover three when you have an uber athletic free safety who can cover the whole field. And if you don't have that. Maybe you go to more cover two. Mm-hmm. Particularly if you believe in your defensive line more than they did last year, and so you think they're going to be a little bit better against the run, or maybe like the Eagles are not that great a running team in the first place. Let's play cover two, and that splits the field up for the safeties.
Mm-hmm. By the
I
way,
don't understand why we like it
I
so
am
much.
way more confident in the defensive line now. I don't know about you guys. They looked pretty good to me most of the game.
Well, I mean, let's see when we get to some of these better offenses.
Oh, sure. But
Well,
I'm
this
happy
was a
with
good offensive
this
line,
week.
though. This Alex is making a good point. This was a good offensive line in Philly. They have some top guys on there, and I think they play pretty well.
Yeah, they did. I guess I shouldn't be quite so negative. I mean, they had a good game. Am I convinced that they're going to be a good defensive line? Not yet. I'm not totally
We'll see.
convinced. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
All right, well, do you guys want to make any? I mean, let's see. We're at about 36 minutes here. You guys got any other major big picture thoughts about this game? Anything you just dying to spit out there?
I mean, the big picture here to me is that it was another Jay Gruden game in every way. Mm-hmm. The team didn't look ready in game number one. He instantly gave up on the run when he shouldn't have to, and it was way too early. And so the offensive play calling, left something to be desired in the second half. It was very Jay Gruden-like. That's my kind of big picture takeaway. And Kirk sucked. Kirk looked bad. There's no two ways about it. Kirk
There's no
sucked.
two ways about it. I agree with you completely. I thought, like I said, I think this is for both of them. They better find a way to get over these chronic problems they both have real quick, or I think they can find another job.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, but everything that you just said, Steve, the offense ain't going to roll as well as it did last year. The defense is a little bit improved, but that's just not going to be enough. I'm very confident in my 6-10 prediction. Hopefully, the team proves me wrong.
Yeah, my big takeaway, I really miss Pierre Garçon. That's it.
Pierre, sacre bleu. I
Uh,
miss you, Pierre.
half those drops that we saw from Pryor, Garçon would have caught them. You can
story.
you just look at those and you're like, Kirk threw that up there because he was so used to having a receiver who could catch anything, and he doesn't anymore, and that's going to hurt him.
I mean, I still miss Deshaun Jackson more than I do Garcon, but that's another conversation for another day, I guess.
Yeah,
It was a great combo that we
Yeah,
had
it was.
just 1 year ago.
It was.
yeah.
All right.
You want to do
Okay.
game balls? Do we dare? Or...
Yeah, let's do game balls. Good call. All right, let's do game balls.
I'm trying to think here. All right, do me last because I have no idea who I want
All
to
right.
give a game ball to.
All right, I'll go first then, I guess. Game balls. Nobody offensively deserves a game ball to me.
You gotta give one. You
I
gotta
have to
one.
give one. Okay.
You gotta give one.
Gosh, that's a tough one. I'm going to start with the defense. I'm going to give a game ball to Bashaud Breeland for looking like the Bashaud Breeland of old.
That's a
He
good
looked
one.
like he had something to prove, and so I'm giving a game ball to Bashaud Breeland. Now, on offensively, I mean, yeesh. I guess you got to go with Pryor simply because,
Yeah.
I mean, he put up the most numbers at least. So, by default, Pryor gets it.
All right. I got mine now, and I'm going to go offense first and say, yeah, Pryor put up some nice numbers, except for the one number that counted, and that's a touchdown. So my offensive game ball is going to go to Chris Thompson because he got the only touchdown. And frankly, I don't
Yeah,
give
that's
that to
fair enough.
Kirk because Thompson, gutted that thing out, not Kirk, who just threw a screen pass.
Right.
On defense, there are a couple names I think that played well. Looking at the numbers too, some guys showed up. But let's go with Zach Brown, new guy, comes in, just kind of took over that interior spot. Like we talked about, he stopped one drive all on his own, and he probably stopped a couple other third down plays just by, breaking through the line on his own and making a big play on the running back.
I was going to say Brown for my defense as well, but for the sake of being different, I guess I'll go Kerrigan.
That's a good one.
Way to light a fire under people and get folks motivated, keep them in the game, keep their hearts in the game.
That's a great point. People were
I do
sobbing online before that.
Right, exactly. It kind of changed the vibe a little bit, so I'll go there. Though I really like the Brown pick. Offense, man, yeah.
It's tough, isn't it?
Thompson. It is rough. Thompson probably deserves it. I think he might have gotten a little lucky on that touchdown, which is why I guess I'll go Pryor. I feel like Thompson kind of got spun around, and then suddenly he was staring at open field, and he just took off. But no, I'm not taking anything away from him. That was sick, and I expect to see it on SportsCenter. But I guess I'll go Pryor just to there you go, Pryor. You get my stamp of approval. Keep working hard, buddy.
Mm-hmm. But before I forget, somebody asked us to try and track missed tackles this time. I counted 4 that were bad missed tackles.
All right.
Ones that just looked awful. So there you go. It wasn't the worst tackling performance we've ever had.
Who was our worst offender, if you have that?
I didn't keep names. The worst offender is probably Swearinger.
Probably.
Yeah.
If you
most
have to,
visible.
Yeah. But it wasn't. This was not a game, where we had a ton of missed tackles, and those missed tackles contributed significantly to the loss. It put up the one touchdown at the Aguilar touchdown, yes, but that didn't cost us.
And there were a couple missed tackles there. Smith really should have had a sack there on the quarterback.
Well, I counted that one actually.
Okay.
That was a missed tackle. So there you go.
All
So
right.
that was missed tackles. It wasn't a horrible game, but it wasn't their best. We had a couple.
Yeah, and I'm counting in my head starting field position because we have not done very well on that on kickoffs.
Gosh, by the way, Breland ran right into that tackle at the 15-yard line.
He did
or
not
whatever.
take a single kickoff back beyond the 25.
Yeah.
So that's
And
not
can
good.
we mention Jordan Reed, by the way, before we sign off?
Sure.
The news
Yes, yeah.
broke right before the game started, about an hour before the game. He's playing with a broken toe.
He seems so quiet. Yeah.
Well, first of all, where
I'm not
did we
surprised.
get broken toe from? Why are we just finding out about this
yeah,
now?
we thought it was
we
turf
told he
toe.
right, and then he also said it was going all the way back to last season, which, as I said before, he wasn't listed on the injury report as a toe last season.
But he broke it last season?
No. The toe problem was started apparently last season,
Gotcha.
but he wasn't listed. But I don't know if the toe contributed to it or what. But Jordan Reed had a really quiet game today and didn't really look like himself. So I don't know if it's the toe or he just had a off game or what.
Dude, I've broken toes before. It's not fun.
Well, as I understand it, sometimes your toe can hurt, and you're like, "What the hell?" And then you find out a month later, you're like, "Oh crap! I actually broke this thing." I think it's not as obvious necessarily always as a break.
If
Well,
you
except
really
Jordan
break
Reed
it, your
went
whole
to-
foot turns purple.
Jordan Reed flew
Yeah,
to see a
same.
specialist about his toe, though. Okay,
Yeah.
This is not just I think my
Give me
my
that
toe
job.
hurts.
Yeah,
You know?
I cut
I
my
could-
toe
I could
today. It's
probably-
bleeding. It's not broken. I don't need help with that. But
Yeah.
Was it Rex Ryan?
no, thank God.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes obviously on the injury news. Hopefully that resolves itself soon because we would definitely need a strong Jordan Reed presence this year. Okay, so next week we got the Los Angeles Rams, right?
Yay!
Sure do, man.
That will be an interesting game. Let's see how it goes. We will obviously be hitting you with our written preview, so check back on our website for that. And we've got our preview episode coming out later this week. So I guess we'll see you then. You guys got anything else?
Barf.
Well, keep donating for the
Well said.
hurricanes, all 3 of them that are eventually going to hit us.
Good Lord, yeah.
And
Yeah. That's it. We're gonna. Matter of fact, we'll do this. Alex doesn't know this yet, but Alex is gonna move the hurricane article up to the project list on our website, so it'll always be there, and you guys can always find it.
Yeah, I can keep that up there. That's not a problem.
There you
Especially
go.
since
All
I
right,
just
well,
had
we'll
family get really wiped out by it. So
say good luck to everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.